story time on how I'm currently living with my sister's ex-boyfriend. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so this video is perfect to save and watch while you're getting ready or doing the dishes or anything of that nature, so buckle up. Back in August, I was living in South Florida. My god sister, who I've known since I was probably like a week old, came down to Florida to visit us for my daughter's second birthday. During this trip, her and her mom, who's my godmother, kept making comments about wanting me to move to Georgia, to be closer to them, to kind of get a fresh start, all of those different things. And at that time, I really did not need another place to stay, but I did keep it in the back of my mind. If I ever was in a situation where I needed another option, I could always reach out to them. So fast forward to November of 2025, I found myself in a predicament where I needed a new place to stay. Considering that they had already offered and they already seemed so excited about the idea of me coming to Georgia, I reached out to them. I didn't reach out begging them, I just asked them if that was still an option, and if it was, that's something I would be interested in talking more about. They responded and said, yes, absolutely, we would love to have you. We have a little house set up here for you. We can't wait to see you, and proceeded to help me with every step of the moving process from Florida to Georgia. So I was naturally feeling really optimistic. I was super excited. I have always considered her a sister, even though we're not blood related. If you ask me how many siblings I have, I would always include her in that number. And although we were never really close, like her and I didn't talk a whole lot, we were never like bonded like that, I always considered her family. So I was excited not just to get a fresh start, because that was a huge part of me moving to Georgia, but to kind of have the long lost older sister experience that I never had. Moving day comes, and when I got here, of course, I'm assuming I'm going to be moving into the little house that they've been telling me about. So I was a little surprised when they moved all of my stuff into the same house as her and her boyfriend. And then for weeks after, no one ever talked about the little house. So it kind of gave the impression that they were planning on just having me stay here in the same house as them, which if I had known that before moving here, I probably would have looked into other options just because I don't want to live with other people. However, I was already here, so I was like, let's just make the most of it. An important thing to note is the personality differences between her and I. She is a very headstrong, strong personality, intense person, and I'm a little bit more laid back, go with the flow, people pleaser type person. So there were multiple times in the beginning of me moving here where she would just kind of launch at me or snap at me, and I'm not used to that, so it kind of made me shut down a little bit. When I had mentioned this pattern of behavior to my godmother just told me, oh, that's how she treats people that she loves, because she knows that she can get away with it and that they're not going to leave her in the end. Although I didn't really like the way that I was being treated by her, I kind of was in the mentality that I'm not going to be here forever. I am staying with them, and I don't really have any other options. You know, I'm in Georgia. I don't know anybody else. So let me just try and keep the peace for the most part. So every time she would launch at me, I never really stood up for myself. I kind of just let it go, because at the end of the day, what am I going to do? Shortly after moving here, I also noticed that her and her boyfriend were on a little bit of rocky terms. And again, without going into too much detail on their personal life and airing out their dirty laundry, it would not take a relationship specialist analysis to see that there was some trouble in their paradise. Which leads me to my next frustration, which is why move me all the way out here and be so excited for me to come and move me into your house if you knew that the water was already boiling before I got here. One of the big arguments that we got into was about me not getting a job literally immediately after moving here, to which I told her, if you expected me to get a job within a week or 2 weeks of me moving here in the middle of December, that's crazy. Of course, I was applying to places, and I'm not trying to be a freeloader, but I also was under the assumption that they understood the reason why I wasn't able to get a job immediately after moving here was because it was in the middle of the holiday season, and places don't really hire people in the middle of that season. But to set the record straight, I was applying to like 10 plus places a day. I just can't force somebody to hire me if they're not in a place where they want to be hiring people. Something that would really bother me is that she would question how I parent my daughter and tell me that I need to be harder on her or that I'm too hard on her, and it was almost as if I was being watched every time I tried to discipline my daughter. Which, if you're a parent, you know how exhausting that is, to feel like nothing you do is enough. I already feel that way. I don't need somebody else to make me feel that way too. Let me fast forward to the actual breakup part, because there's a lot I could talk about between the months of December and January, but February is when it kind of all went down. They broke up in February, and as soon as they broke up, my sister started just making plans and trying to figure out where she was going to go post breakout, because she obviously doesn't want to live here. Another really important piece of information is that my sister has 5 animals, one of which is a tiny little dog who does not get along with my daughter. My daughter doesn't really get along with it. They bite each other, pinch each other, scratch each other, so just keep that in mind. Oh, same thing with the cat. She has 3 cats, and every time my daughter would kind of get on their nerves, they would scratch her, which I understand, but again, that's a key point. Her plan was to get an RV and move all 5 animals, me and my 2-year-old, into this RV on her parents' property. Keep in mind, I'm in a new state. I really truly do not have any other options. I don't know anybody else here. I just started working, so even if I found an apartment that I could afford tomorrow, it's not like I can go in and just sign a lease for this place because I don't have proof of income. And I was already frustrated because of the amount of snapping that she was doing towards me, and then she expects me to just up and leave and uproot my daughter. For me, it's like I need stability for my daughter. She just started a school, I just started working, and it's not really fair to ask me to uproot my entire life and my daughter's stability just because y'all broke up. Especially considering that you knew before I got here you guys were on rocky terms. And she said some really hurtful things to me. She said that if I had never came, that their relationship may have lasted. Different things of that nature, which I didn't appreciate because you guys seemed so excited to have me and you offered me, like you wanted me to come. Her ex-boyfriend offered to help me by letting me stay in that little house when it's finished. It's about 2 or 3 more weeks until the house is fully remodeled and ready for someone to live in. And the fact that I was even considering accepting a favor from him for me and my daughter, she flipped out. Like absolutely lost her shit. Things kept getting twisted. She would go tell her mom one thing, who would go tell my mom one thing, who would tell me, and I would go to her. And it was like everything that I said was getting manipulated into something that was either never said or was intended to land differently than how she was kind of twisting it. Then I found out that she went to her ex-boyfriend and told him that I was manipulative, that I'm gonna be a freeloader, that I'm gonna try to get as much as I can out of him and then screw him over, and all of this nasty stuff about me. And that was extremely hurtful because in my mind, if you knew me at all as a person, if you had gotten close to me in any way, shape, or form, you would not be saying those things. And then she just up and left and didn't say bye, took all the animals, didn't say bye to my daughter, literally just left. I'm kind of done crying about it. I cried a lot about it because this is somebody who I considered family, and I don't understand where this is coming from. If I had done something that was manipulative, or if I had done something that was like really screwed up and messed up and I made her life harder in any way, then I would understand. But truly, all of this is just stemming from the fact that I even considered moving into the little house. To me, it's really selfish. I understand that she wants to leave because they're broken up, but she left me and my daughter in a house alone with him without saying anything. From the outside looking in, it does look pretty bad when in all reality, I didn't choose any of this to happen. And you don't even want to know the narratives that they're coming up with on their own about me. But it has been really, really, really